Welcome to Fearless with Jason Whitlock. I am Jason Whitlock, your host. First thing we got to settle today is I made a comment before the show. I don't know if this shirt goes with my gray beard. So could you guys help me decide on that? You can email me at fearlessblazeshow@gmail.com. I got to be careful here because I'm on a tight schedule today. We got a lot going on, but I do want your thoughts on my beard and this shirt color. I'm not sure about it. Tiffany tells me it's great. No one else seems to have a comment on it. Probably sent off people's gaydar even being concerned about this, but I'm just keeping it real. Anyway, we have a fantastic show for you today. Michelle Obama compared ESPN to Desperate Housewives of Atlanta. That's incredible. And that got me to thinking about, well, hold on, maybe she's right. And so we're going to go on I got a little rant about these Desperate House Negroes of Disney. And so we'll do that. I'll bring on some guests to help me because I got a lot to unpack, and we'll bring on a little different cast of guests to talk about all the different aspects of it, which will include even the Sweeney controversy that seems to be roiling liberal America because she's wearing tight jeans and she says she's got good jeans. That'll fit into it. And so Boyce, Watkins, and Shemeka Michelle will be here. Jason Momola, I believe that's how you say Jason's last name. He's with the Barrett Sports Media. He wrote a piece about Shannon Sharpe's options in the future because we're going to touch on that as well. Shannon's got a new lawsuit, and I'll get into that. And we'll talk about all the sports media news because that's what Barrett Sports Media does. And then at some point, later in the show, back in Steve Kim, the Korean Cosell, Micah Parsons, his dispute with the Dallas Cowboys is heating up in a really significant way, according to Diana Rossini. John Harbaugh says that Lamar Jackson is as good a passer as the National Football League has ever seen. I don't buy that. And Terry McLaurin, Scary Terry, the wide receiver for the Washington Commanders, he's demanding a trade. And I'm really looking forward to this, we'll end the show with As the WNBA Turns, and we'll have two guests on for that. John the Liquidator, he's a YouTuber that does a lot of Caitlin Clark content, and my man Ock Nation, who does a lot of Caitlin Clark content, but Ock does a lot of content. They're going to come on the show. I got to find people that have the same passion for Caitlin Clark and the WNBA as me to talk to. And so we'll end the show with As the WNBA Turns with two special guests, John the Liquidator and Ock Nation. Some of you others from Mick Talks Hoops to Ben Daniel, I think, is another guy that I discovered, and I think I DM'd him over Twitter. Haven't heard back from him. I think the Keep the Vision, Rosalina Lee, Robin Lundberg. I think Lundberg probably works for Sports Illustrated or some group that says, oh, you can't be associated with Jason Whitlock. He's conservative. But anyway, Robin, I like your stuff, love your stuff. And so I want to reach out to some of you other guys as well to help me talk about the WNBA because there's just a handful of us that are out of the closet WNBA fans, Caitlin Clark groupies. So fantastic show. Let me first thank Preborn for allowing us to even do this. You guys know how I and we feel about Preborn. It's the greatest organization supporting our worldview that life begins at conception and that every baby's life is precious, even while in the womb. And Preborn provides expectant mothers who are considering an abortion, provide them an ultrasound, introduce that baby to the mother while the baby's in the womb. Now that mother is twice as likely to choose life. Preborn, that's when they step up and support that child and that mother for up to 2 years. They do it because we give our money. We donate to Preborn. We want to please God, so we support babies in the womb. And it's $28 for an ultrasound. 5 ultrasounds, $140. Whatever you can afford to give, whether it's $28,000 or $28 or $280, please do. Please. It's our duty. Some of you that are afraid to enter into the culture war, afraid to speak out and stand up because it might cost you your job. There's something secret you can do. You can dial #250, say the keyword baby, and give money to Preborn. Or you can visit preborn.com/fearless. When you do, drop me a note at fearlessblazeshow@gmail and let me know. And maybe I'll reference you on this show. Thank you so much, Preborn. All right, let's get into today's show. And let's start with Michelle Obama. You guys remember the First Lady, the most beautiful First Lady in the history of the presidency, a woman that is 10 times prettier than Melania Trump, makes Jackie O, look like, a shriveled up old woman. Michelle Obama, the supermodel. She had some interesting things to say about ESPN and even dragged my boy Stephen A. Smith into it. I kind of like this. Let's play the clip.
But there's drama in sports.
There's so much drama.
Yeah, that's right.
If I listen to ESPN for an hour, it's like watching The Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's the same drama, and they're yelling at each other, and they don't get along. I mean, Stephen A. Smith, he's just like every other
he'd
talk
be a
show
great
host.
Real Housewife.
He would be.
Right.
It would be amazing.
So that's why I'm like, what's the difference? It's just, it's just sociological drama. I mean, the fact that people over seasons of working together still can't get along.
Right.
They still have the same arguments, and it's not just women, but this happens in sports too.
Right.
I find it fascinating.
It is.
It's just like, why do you keep going to dinner together?
Yeah.
It never ends well. And don't ever vacation with her ever again.
This has got to be a high point for ESPN. This has got that the First Lady, a supermodel First Lady, is having a conversation with her with her brother who looks as feminine as this supermodel former First Lady, and two gay guys. And they're talking about how feminine ESPN is. Hats off to Stephen A. Smith and Bob Iger and Ryan Clark and Gilbert Arenas and Shannon Sharpe. You have feminized ESPN to the point that a supermodel First Lady, one of the most beautiful women to ever walk in the White House, is talking with her gay friends and brother. And they're talking about how you remind them of a bunch of housewives in Atlanta. Hats off. And I'm following up on this and circling back to this because the Shannon Sharpe deal isn't quite over. And she's right. It's a soap opera at ESPN. And they fired Shannon Sharpe. But Shannon Sharpe now has a new woman suing him for $20 million. She went to some Usher concert and got called up on stage with Usher, and Shannon Sharpe had something to say or joke about it on his show with Nightcap. She's now claiming she's been defamed, and she wants $20 million from Shannon Sharpe. Let me tell you what this screams. It's like, holy cow! Shannon Sharpe let some 19, 20, 21-year-old little white girl on OnlyFans get him for $20 million, and some black woman said, hey, let me get some of that. We're going to run a train on Shannon Sharpe's bank account. Does he have anything left? I mean, they're just saying Shannon is wide open for business. And my point yesterday and the point I'm circling back to again today, it's like, what is Bob Iger doing? What are these guys signing up for? They look like a bunch of desperate housewives from Atlanta. Could they be calling you more ghetto than that? Supermodel First Lady, one of the most beautiful women to ever walk the planet of the United States, 10 times prettier than Melania Trump, is calling ESPN a gay sports network with her gay friends. This is amazing. If I said this, everybody would melt down, use Uncle Tom sellout, coon, Whitlock. You're just jealous. But when one of the most beautiful women in the history of the planet says it, what are you going to say? How you like them apples? And I don't blame her. She's actually accurate here. This is a bunch of feminized men who allow Bob Iger to put puppet strings on them and behave and talk in a buffoonish ghetto fashion. I want to play you this clip from yesterday. There's two of them. We'll play them back to back. Gilbert Arenas gets locked up, arrested, charged in some kind of gambling conspiracy. And he was right there with on First Take with Stephen A. Smith and that clown show that they're running, that feminized clown show that's Desperate Housewives. Gilbert Arenas gets arrested. He should be embarrassed. He gets out of jail and goes straight to a live stream. Gilbert Arenas has got to be close to 40, right? This is a 40-year-old with a grown child that's going to be one of the top basketball recruits in the country. And he hops on a Madden video game and does a live stream. And you wonder why they're calling ESPN and basically men a bunch of basically gay dudes, closeted guys, yapping about sports. This isn't, Gilbert Arenas, you're in your 40s, you have a grown child. You don't get arrested, come straight home to hop and play a video game. This is not manly activity at 40 with a child that's 17, 18 years old. And you just got in serious trouble. You hop on a live stream to play Madden while you talk like a retard. Let's play shot number 2. This is Gilbert explaining what transpired when he got arrested with these Israeli mafia figures. Play the clip, shot 2.
They was like, yeah, so no tampering. I was like, okay. So you can't talk to any of them. And I was like, I don't know these. And then it was like, and no talking to any witnesses. How the f do I know who's a witness? Like, who the f I don't know who the f a witness is. Like, what are you talking about? Like, is there a list? Because I'm pretty sure y'all can't give out a list, because I'm pretty sure them niggas over there is real dangerous. The way them niggas over there looking, I'm pretty sure you can't give them niggas no list, okay? All right? Hey, I'm serious. It was like, yeah, so, no talking to the witness, and I want to hey, how do we know who's the witness? Like, I wouldn't know. Like, but I'm thinking them in that cell, the way they was sound, I don't think you want to give them no information, all right? Because they look like they knocking off all. No, I'll just be honest with you. I'ma just be honest with you. I'ma just be honest. Hey, look, I'ma just so y'all understand that. Just so y'all understand, like, okay, so if this is them and they sitting there talking, I was over here just like I'm trying to get some information, but like I'm trying to figure out, like, I've never heard, like, I didn't know the language to process anything. Okay, so I was just sitting.
You got to drug test this guy at this point, no? You got to get him some sort of mental health. FBI shows up, surrounds his house, puts him in cuffs, charges him with some kind of criminal conspiracy with the Israeli mafia, and within 24 hours, he's back at home laughing and joking and talking incoherently about it in front of a live stream. And when you hear my anger, what I was trying to tell you all, and particularly you black fathers, This is the role model that Bob Iger and ESPN, this is who they're putting out there. Hey, this is the best and brightest, the most entertaining we can find to talk sports. This clown and buffoon, a desperate house Negro. That is Fiddler. Anybody y'all, some of you are too young, but Roots and Fiddler was kind of I think it was Lou Gossett Jr. that played Fiddler in Roots. He'd play a banjo and he'd dance, and Massa would say, get up here and play me a jig, and he'd play his banjo. That's who Gilbert Arenas is. And when they talk about nothing changing, this is what we're talking about. 20, 30 pieces of silver, and Gilbert Arenas will dance a jig for Bob Iger and ESPN. And they'll look and say, that's what we need, more of that. We need more desperate house Negroes that will do anything for these 20 and 30 pieces of silver that we'll hand out. Here's Gilbert Arenas talking about his willingness and desire to snitch and how quickly he will snitch. Play the clip.
Why you really ratted? I ain't rat yet. The case ain't even started yet. How am I rat already? God, let me wait. I'm gonna let you know when I do it. What are you talking about? They better make me a deal early, or I'll be that motherfucker ready. Oh. Nah, I mean, to be honest, I don't know nothing to tell. I wish I did. I wish I did, boy, because I would have been out like, soon as they put me in a car, if I would have known something, I would have told right there. Shit, I don't know who y'all playing with. I like my bed. Dummy said, yet. Yes. He said I was a rat. Not yet. just give me time. just give me time. All right? Let me wait to see what the charges are, the real ones. And I'm going to just be honest with you. They don't even got to say 20 years. They can say 20 hours. 20 hours. Like, that him right there. That's him. Yep. Igor. That did it right there. Just look at him. He looked guilty. Y'all be thinking something wrong with snitching. Ain't nothing wrong. Get in there. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Do you see? When you see, you just run right out of the prison. Just right out of there.
Gilbert Arenas is 43 years old. He just got arrested. He's being connected to Israeli mafia figures. He's playing EA college football. I think that's USC he was playing with. And he's got a son and probably other kids. I think he's now married. Yeah, he's got, looks like 3 kids. I think he's now married. He's got a wife and kids. He just got how do you have time to play a video game? And I just want you to remind, Michelle Obama, one of the most beautiful women in the history of the planet, just compared all of this to Real Housewives of Atlanta. And I bring that up because you're going to think I'm going too far. But I just want to bring that up, what these guys are doing. What we just want. I don't know what gay porn looks like, but I would imagine it would look like that. And it would feature someone like Gilbert Arenas. His behavior, and I know he's got 3 kids, I know he's got a wife, but his behavior is so feminine, so illogical, so emotional. This is gay porn. And who's paying for it? You telling me all the guys that played in the NBA, there's no one that conducts himself, carries himself as a mature, real man? And that we have to turn to Gilbert Arenas or some of these other buffoons and clowns? This is intentional. This is what they want for your kids. They'll all be acting like Gilbert Arenas because the system pays you and rewards you. Like, yeah, behave like this, become a clown in this gay pride parade, and we've got 20, 30 pieces of silver for you. Let me soldier through and connect some more of these dots. Joy Taylor I just want to remind you, she put out a statement or said something during an interview about she's very close to making her announcement for what's next. And it seems to indicate that Barstool Sports might be what's next for Joy Taylor. Let's listen to this clip from Joy Taylor as she transitions from getting released by Fox Sports, and maybe her next step is over to Barstool Sports, where Dave Portnoy will welcome her into the arms of Barstool Sports. Perhaps. I'm speculating here, but let's play the clip.
I'll have a lot of announcements coming up. There is motion. You know, as far as like everything that happened, like that's the business, you know, and nothing is forever. There's all these cliches, but that just like is what that is what it is. I'm sure I'll have a lot more to say as the years go on, but I'm, you know, grateful to have had 9 years on a network, and I think do great work with great talent and great staffs and great producers. And the next chapter will be equally as exciting. When I have news, I will let everyone know.
And when those years come and you want a dish, we're letting them fly, we're letting them shoot.
We'll let the chopper sing.
Joy Taylor, just a phenomenal talent. One of the more, I really am inspired by you. Like, truthfully.
Thanks,
I've been watching you when I was working with Brandon at Voldestool. That's when I feel like I knew the you of you. And I was going through my own little struggle bus. Actually, we both have, you know, now our own little connection to the Voldestool. So
things come around full circle.
Things come around full circle, but I can't wait to see what you do. I hope you continue to talk that shit and be somewhere where you're able to talk even more shit and shut things down and be your best, most bright, most unapologetic self.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, I'm not limiting myself, you know. Like I said, I've worked with a bunch of different people over the years, people I never thought that I would end up partnering up with. And, you know, platforms have their reputations, but I guess so do I. So yeah, you know, I might surprise people what the next move is.
So you're going to Barstool? Can we confirm right now that you're going?
I'm not confirming that I'm going to. What are you calling it? Voldestool?
There you go. So one of the other girls or white girl on there, the interviewer, cracks a joke that maybe she's going to Barstool. It would make sense. You know, Joy's a sexual degenerate, according to lawsuits and her own videos that she puts out. Dave Portnoy, who, you know, okay, I give him his props for building Barstool, but he's certainly a sexual degenerate. It just fits. She's a desperate housewife. She's sexually liberated. Makes perfect sense for her to wind up at a Barstool. She's a desperate house Negro willing to tap dance and to do, well, a desperate half house Negro willing to do whatever it is for 20, 30 pieces of silver. It is what it is. So finally, the last little thing I want to connect the dot on here, just in terms of the media and where we're at and how we got here. And this somewhat connects because I saw this. Clay Travis tweeted out a commercial that Terrell Owens did for Monday Night Football years ago, 2004, like 21 years ago. And it was promoting the TV show Desperate Housewives, I believe, on ABC. And Terrell was in it, and we'll play the commercial here. I think we got the commercial, the NFL promo. And it was promoting Desperate Housewives. And Clay Travis made the point of I think, somewhat incorrectly, that like people would have melted down if this commercial that Terrell Owens was in 21 years ago, if it was played now. And he was comparing it to this whole rigged uproar over Sydney Sweeney and She's Got Good Genes. That's a rigged uproar. That's not real. There's no one really upset with that. I believe American Eagle Jeans, probably their marketing team rigged up someone to complain about, you know, the commercial, to start this controversy. They get all this free advertising. It's not a real thing, in my view. It's a typical commercial. But when Clay tweeted out this Terrell Owens deal, and I started thinking, well, Monday Night Football and ABC is involved in this. And it just helps you to understand how long Disney has been at this of corrupting American culture and completely sexualizing American culture. And when they did do this commercial on ABC promoting Desperate Housewives, NFL owners were upset, and ABC had to apologize the next day. So I want to tell you that in advance. But Disney has been promoting sexual degeneracy for a long time. Let's watch Terrell Owens in a 21-year-old Monday Night Football commercial, I believe, 2004. Play the clip.
Edie.
Hey there, Terrell.
What are you doing here?
Oh, my house burned down. And I needed to take a long, hot shower. So where are you off to? Looking so pretty.
Baby, it's Monday Night Football. Game starts in 10 minutes.
Oh, you and your little games. I've got a game we could play.
Edie, this is major. We've got Parcells and the Cowboys, and Donovan needs me.
Well, what about my needs? What about Edie?
Will you stop it? All of Philadelphia is counting on me.
Well, I can't help myself. I love you, T.O.
Then how about you tell me what's buried underneath that pool?
Oh, you know I can't tell you that.
Then I got a game to play.
Terrell, wait.
Oh, hell. Team's gonna have to win this one without me.
Oh my God. Who watches this trash? Sex, lies, betrayal.
And that woman is just so desperate. Ugh.
I know what you should watch.
Are you ready for some football?
There you go. Disney. What have they been doing? What stereotypes did they lean into there? Oh, T.O., black athlete, willing to walk away from his responsibilities for a little poontang. This has been going on forever. Forever. And it's not an accident. All the accidents happen one direction. How can we promote sexual degeneracy, irresponsible sexual behavior? It all goes one direction. This Sydney Sweeney deal. It's a work. It's a rig job. It's all the people the people that are falling for it, that are running out. We got to go defend Sydney Sweeney. She's conservative, and she's not a Nazi. And all you're really doing is, hey, look, the left believes in hardcore porn. We believe in softcore porn. We just want a little bit of pornography. Sydney Sweeney gets to keep her jeans on, but we're going to front and center her breast and sexualize her at every turn we can, because that's what we want to tell young girls, young ladies. We want to make sure that, okay, don't do OnlyFans. We just want you in the strip club. All right. So that's the start of of the show today. Desperate House Negroes. We'll talk about that with Boyce Watkins and Shemeka Michelle. Ertz.
ESPN sucks.
Giving him. And by the way, Stephen Jones, respect to you, my brother. But if it wasn't for your daddy, would you be a CEO, a COO in the NFL? Would you be? Did you want the job? Did you earn it? Come on now. Let's go. Hey, I'm back. I'm back. It's the truth. It's the truth.
Ooh, I get to talk about my draft crush. Ryan knows who this is. Jahad Campbell. Oh my God.
Does a team need to play its worst game of the year and have its best player play his worst game of the year in the biggest spot before we care about it?
It wasn't his first game. He was not bad.
Mina, hold on.
Okay, wait.
What does the addition of Bradley Beal do for the Los Angeles Clippers?
Nothing.
And that's why ESPN sucks.
All right, welcome back. Boyce Watkins, Shemeka Michelle joining me. I want their reaction to part of what I unpacked here in the first 30 minutes of the show. Boyce, I'm going to start with you. Your reaction to what has happened to Shannon Sharpe and what lesson should be learned from that for other men in general, young black men and athletes in particular?
Well, the Shannon Sharpe situation was unfortunate. It's going to cost him millions of dollars. And as I was just talking to my friend Shemeka about the great HBCU that she attended, one thing that came to mind was that this young lady that Shannon wrote this check to, she literally has more wealth in her pocket right now than about 10 or 12 of our poorest HBCUs. If you were to add up their endowments, she has more money than all their endowments. So this money that could have gone to educating probably a couple 100,000 black people over the next 100 years was spent because, unfortunately, no one ever helped him really understand the importance of sexual discipline as a prerequisite for the protection of wealth. We live in a society where, unfortunately, a lot of behavior has really been exceedingly vilified. I don't believe that this young lady deserved a check that size without significant evidence that he may have committed a crime. And then also we notice a lot of these cases, they go right to the money. They don't go to the criminal courts. They go to the civil courts. So it's easy to argue that these are money grabs. But at the same time, though, strategy and intelligence and diligence is important. A man who does not have some type of sexual discipline will have a very hard time holding on to his wealth. And I think that's doubly true if you're a black man. Because remember, for Shannon, I believe his problems are just starting. Once people know that you're willing to settle these suits, these sexual lawsuits for millions of dollars, people are going to smell blood in the water. That means every person that you've ever slept with, male, female, because I don't know nothing about Shannon's sexuality, but it sounds like it could be broad. Every person that you ever slept with that needs money now knows I can sue you and I can settle and get a big check without really having to prove anything. So it was unfortunate to watch, and unfortunately, you're going to see a lot of brothers go through the same thing.
Boyce, I know a lot of your focus is on the creation of wealth, but I would go a step further as it relates to Shannon Sharpe. When you don't have sexual discipline, you risk your reputation, your family's reputation. Shannon Sharpe has kids. And because he wanted to play this game, the Hollywood game of I want to get as much money as I can, I want to get as big a contract as I can, and there's a sexual deviancy, and hopping on board with the LGBTQ is a good way to increase your popularity in the television industry. And so he started running around with his gay stylist and creating the impression that he denies, but creating the impression that he and the gay stylist had something going on. And the next thing you know, Shannon Sharpe, he talked about it on Nightcap. His kids started questioning, Daddy, are you gay? And so this lack of is not just the money he's cost himself, he's turned himself into a laughing stock. And as it relates to the woman and what she has on him, only Shannon Sharpe knows that. And it must be so bad that he's willing to cut a multi-million-dollar check, whether it's 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, or 20 some odd million like they're talking about. Whatever she's got on him, he wants it quieted down enough that he wrote a big check. And so that's all on him.
Yeah, I think so too. And it's unfortunate because you can't talk about what Shannon is dealing with without the historical context. Now, remember, I can't think of a single time that a white female was required to write a check that big because of who she slept with. So this type of situation, in my view, tends to be something where it's easy to vilify black men in a certain way. If you are a black man that has a certain reputation, it's very fragile. It's easy for somebody to destroy it. Like, you remember when Tiger Woods had a situation with his wife where I believe that she hit him in the face with a golf club. She should have been in prison for that. You saw Tiger on TV apologizing, which didn't make any sense to me. I said, why is he apologizing when she assaulted him? I don't care how many people he slept with. And so I really think that one of the biggest mistakes that we make is we let this, whether it's the Hollywood lifestyle or the athlete lifestyle or the hip hop lifestyle, lure men into letting their guard down and thinking that you can just do whatever you want with whoever you want, and it's never going to come back to bite you. It always comes back to bite you. And you look at Diddy. Diddy has probably lost $500 million in wealth because sexual discipline has never really been part of the conversation. In fact, I'll give you a real life example. When I first got on the faculty at Syracuse University, my father, who was he was a Vietnam veteran, a police detective, he's a very smart man and a tough man and a strategic man. First thing he told me was, he said, don't you F nothing on that campus. He said, don't you F none of the students. Don't you F none of the faculty. Don't you F none of the administrators. Because he knew that as a young man making over $100,000 a year, that I was going to get approached. He said, don't you dare. He said, you find your stuff off campus, because they can flip that on you real quick and destroy everything you work for. And so these young men don't get that advice because a lot of them don't have adequate mentorship, and they get around people that tell them that anything goes. And next thing you know, you're hit with lawsuits and you're losing all your wealth, just really for doing things that, to some extent, you could argue that it's kind of that sex is pretty human, right? But unfortunately, these guys are not prepared for that, and they lose everything.
Shemeka, I'm less sympathetic toward Shannon Sharpe than Boyce. Do you have any sympathy for Shannon and what he's going through?
I don't really have any sympathy, Jason, because when I think about it, my great-grandfather was never sued. And this is why I think we need to continue to promote traditional values. Get married, have that woman, and stay with her. And that way you can keep your wealth. We talk about building generational wealth all the time. The way to do that is to get married, to not have all of these babies out of wedlock, and to not be trying to sow your royal oats all over the place. Like, this is what Shannon should have done, and I feel like he is old enough to have known that, yet he's still making silly decisions, because there's nothing good going to come from sleeping with different women who have no loyalty to you. You can't trust them. Chris Brown said these hoes ain't loyal, and Shannon is showing us that Chris Brown was right. Unless you get with a woman who is really your helpmeet, who is there to give you that support, to assist you, fulfill, and satisfy, you're just really going to be putting your money in pockets with holes in them.
I completely agree. And I don't, what's your thought on the young woman that sued him and got this check? How much blame or how little do you dislike her, or I don't know if I got the right words, but how do you feel about her?
I definitely feel like she saw Shannon as a target and that she intended to go after his money. I don't really believe that he was as bad as she wants to, paint him out to be, because she continued to stick around and be around him. I feel like the whole recording was a setup. So I feel like she was doing what women do, that, they can be very devious and dishonest, and she got paid for it. She's a high-priced prostitute, and she got a big check for it.
I would describe her more accurately as a retired OnlyFans mom. I'm joking. but here's what I will say. This isn't sympathy for Shannon. It's just an explanation of reality. That, to me, clearly, Club Shay Shay was such a disruptor, and Shannon wasn't playing. And what I really think, let me keep it all real. Shannon started dabbling in that alphabet mafia stuff, running around with the gay stylist, and then he tried to back away from that. And the alphabet people was like, what you mean you don't back away? There's only one way in and one way out, and death or jail. And so they have killed his career, in my view. And someone got in this young woman's ear and said, here's how we're going to work this. You're going to get a big check. This guy threatens you. This guy puts his hands on you. This guy strangles you, because that is his reputation. She's not out there alone. Someone got to her. And again, now we got another lawsuit for $20 million going on with the Usher deal that maybe get thrown out, but clearly there is a target. And Shannon, in creating Club Shay Shay and becoming so disruptive with that Cat Williams deal, couldn't figure out early enough that, hey, once you're this kind of disruptor, you're going to have enemies, powerful enemies. And that's why I have to clean up my personal life, because those powerful enemies, and I'm telling you, if Travis Kelce, tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs, if he creates a podcast and becomes a disruptor and doesn't have the right handlers and the people getting their money out of that, and he's out here solo trying to do it, he's going to get taken out too. The people that control Hollywood and control the entertainment industry, and if you're not a part of the right tribe, let's keep it real, and you're this disruptive, you're going to get taken out. And so that's where I have tiny bits of sympathy for he built something with Club Shay Shay that had a chance, and I think people are like, well, now, you haven't played the game the right way. You promised us you were going to go down this gay lane with this hairstylist. You've broken his heart. We don't trust you anymore. You're out. Royce, your reaction. Boyce, your reaction to that. Just called you Royce.
Well, I do believe what you're saying in terms of that alphabet mafia and the Hollywood culture, and I wouldn't be surprised if that played a part in all of this for sure. I also liked. I was listening to what you were saying earlier about this. In the middle of everything you said, you talked about this unfortunate culture of grown men acting like children, grown men refusing to actually grow up, and it's very unfortunate because One of the things that I think the young guys never learn is that as a man, you can't spend your whole life just engaged in pleasure-seeking behavior. There are communities, and whether you go to Africa and different parts of the world, where if you don't have a wife and children that you're responsible for, they don't even look at you as a man. They look at you as a child. And if you listen to some guys talk about things like family and marriage, they talk about children as a burden. Children are tough, but that's your legacy, right? So really you're talking yourself into extinction. You're talking about your own genocide when you speak that way. Also, they speak of marriage as if it is nothing but a drag and it's a terrible experience. Now, mind you, though, marriage can be very expensive if it does not work out 100%. But if you find the right woman and you take your time and you're not just chasing every big booty within a 100-mile radius, a quality woman will protect you. One of the best things about me getting married, and believe me, marriage takes work, it takes strategy. You have to grow your emotional intelligence to maintain a marriage. But if you're willing to make that sacrifice, what happens is that your wife is the person that's standing next to you, so that when some bimbo comes along and tries to attack you and assassinate your character, she can say no. And I can even speak from personal experience. I had some lady that tried to insinuate that I said something or whatever, and I was able to turn back around and say, no, the only 2 times I ever spoke to you, my wife was right there. I've never been in the same room with you, so you get out of here with that nonsense, right? So men need protection, and it really, again, I'm Mr. Pro-Black 100%. I wanted to marry a black woman because only a black woman, in my opinion, could understand what I might deal with as a black man. And I can say this, that black women, good black women, have protected black men for hundreds of years. It didn't just start yesterday. So my advice to young guys out there, if you're watching all this happen, is look, you're hustling, you're grinding, you want to win, you want to get ahead. You have to think about family as not just a source of protection, but also something that allows you to express your masculinity in a more productive way. There are people, as long as you are enough of a sucker that you will be sucked in by sex every time, then believe me, somebody's plotting on you, scheming on you, gold digger's gonna take your money, lawsuit's gonna take your money, somebody's gonna take you out because you are a grown man who is still thinking like a little boy. It's time to grow up. We have to promote the grown man culture. And unfortunately, hip hop promotes black male weakness, black male immaturity, black male irresponsibility, black male ignorance, and black male financial debauchery and ridiculousness. And it makes all of us look like a bunch of clowns.
It promotes hedonism, and just every day is about how I can pleasure myself. And Shemeka, the thing that I try to do on this show is we have a bigger calling as men. And we owe a debt to the men that made sacrifices for us to have this freedom and to live in a country with this much opportunity and blah, blah, blah. And so we don't think these things through. And so Shannon Sharpe, other athletes, guys I know, hell, I used to be this way to some degree, that have built their lives around sexual pleasure, and they're not thinking about like, well, hold on. Men before us, they would go off to war. They would go weeks, months, maybe a year or more without ever seeing their wife, without any sexual activity, because they were a part of some greater cause, some greater sacrifice. When you get in a marriage and your wife starts going through things, hormonal changes, pregnancy, whatever, there's some times where you're gonna have to go without. And we have been trained to believe we should never go without. And if you do go without for more than 24 hours, some of these guys for more than 12 hours, there's something wrong with you. And that's a childlike mentality that will never allow you to build anything. If you're constantly in bed trying to sexually pleasure yourself, you're never gonna build anything. You just don't have time. And I know I didn't, because, as soon as I was done, I was gonna fall asleep for 2 or 3 hours. So that's 2 or 3 hours wasted right there. and then you start thinking about, well, when's the next time? And anyway, Shemeka, your reaction to any of that?
Just listening to Boyce, I am interested in the African cultures that don't acknowledge you as a man if you don't have a wife and children. That's very interesting to me. And I love the fact that he said hip hop promotes never really growing up. When we think about all of these young rappers out here that you have baby in the name, they want to be seen as baby. When you think about the popular movies, you have Baby Boy and we have Boys in the Hood. We don't really promote men actually growing up and being responsible and taking on those responsibilities and it looking like a good thing. It looking like something that's going to help you. We know that the Bible says when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing and obtain favor from the Lord. We don't promote marriage that way. We don't promote it in the way that Boyce was talking about as it being safety and having someone there to have your back and protect you. Instead, we actually promote the degeneracy that we're seeing take place all around us, all of the sleeping around. And so we need to really get back to men having mentors. I go back again to the Bible where it talks about, and Abraham begat Isaac, and Isaac begat Jacob. It takes a man to raise another man. And if you don't have that father, you most certainly need male mentors around you because women can't do it. A woman cannot teach a man or a boy how to be a man. It's going to take men to begot other men.
Well, and again, this is anyway, go ahead, Boyce. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean, she makes a great point. You know, I blame, you know, I blame the liberals for a lot of this. I don't think the conservatives help very much either, but the liberals, when you got into this idea that somehow we're convinced that the boys don't need a father in the home, that was when everything went downhill. I cannot imagine raising my daughters without their mother. That would be insanity. So why in the hell would we tell people that you can raise a boy without a father? You know, and what you see so often, the reason the movie Baby Boy resonated so well is because you have a lot of men who never received that mentorship that a father would give, and they grow up and they become what I call bearded babies. You know, he looks like a grown man. He's 35 years old. He's got a beard. He knows how to have sex and make kids, but he's never gone through the rituals of learning what manhood actually looks like, what it means to be responsible for something, what it means to build something, what it means to fight for something. I can tell you this, you know, when I think about marriage and having a family, it is difficult. I have no doubts about that. But what made me want to be a husband and a father was watching my father be a husband and a father. My brother and I, both of us, have money. We could be out here just bagging a new chick every day if we wanted to. But our model of manhood was one that said, if you want to be a man, you should have some people that you're responsible for. And this isn't just true for humans. Actually, animals evaluate the same way. The way giraffes pick their mates is based on which male controls and manages the most territory. So ultimately, at the end of the day, we have to really confront the fact that we have a culture that is breeding men to just remain little boys forever. And then when you look at our community ends up being seen as weak, because if you look at the most prominent, most famous black men in America, most of them are athletes or entertainers or comedians, etc. Because in America, in my view, the goal is to keep the black man either as a little boy, a little girl, ignorant, a comedian, or a clown. If you can keep him in that category, then he'll never be a leader, he'll never be a king, he'll never be powerful, he'll always be put at the little kid's table, and a lot of us will willingly go to that table because that's the table where there's no responsibility.
We don't have a lot of time for this next part, but I do want to ask you all about it. Sydney Sweeney, this commercial that is being seen as controversial. Anyway, let's play the commercial and then I'll get you all's reaction.
I'm not here to tell you to buy American Eagle jeans. And I definitely won't say that they're the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn. Or that they make your butt look amazing. Why would I need to do that? But if you said that you want to buy the jeans, I'm not going to stop you. But just so we're clear, this is not me telling you to buy American Eagle jeans.
Sydney Sweeney has very jeans.
You see what I did there, right?
Sydney Sweeney has great genes. Is that offensive to you, Shemeka?
It absolutely is not offensive to me. Actually, when I saw the other commercial where she was kind of laying down and she goes and she talks about the blue eyes and I think the blonde hair and, it wasn't offensive. I actually thought to myself, I have great genes as well, especially, in those commercials when she turns around. I'm thinking I could knock that ad out the park. So it wasn't offensive to me. And when you were talking on the call earlier and you were saying that you felt that it was the uproar was created, maybe that was a marketing scheme, but I do feel like the people that jumped on board were just really insecure. Because I, for one, just did not look at her and feel any type of way. She's a beautiful woman. She's promoting jeans. I remember Anna Nicole promoting Guess. I remember Naomi Campbell promoting jeans. It's just what it's done, But I think only insecure people actually had a problem with it because it didn't make me feel anything except I have good genes as well.
Yeah, I just want to add this for a tiny bit of context. I think she's an attractive woman. I think, running her out here like she's, I don't know, Halle Berry or Marilyn Monroe is a little bit too far. And I'm not trying to hate at all. It's an attractive woman. But anyway, Boyce, is this commercial offensive?
No, it's not offensive. When your great producer John mentioned that we were going to talk about this commercial, I'd heard about it, so I had to watch it. And I kid you not, I had to watch it 3 times to try to find anything in it that would be offensive to anybody. I think her genes are fine for, she could be less attractive. The ad was classy. She's not as beautiful as black women are to me. I think black women are the most gorgeous women on the planet. But hey, you know what? So they got great genes too. But ultimately, I'll say this to anybody who was offended. I'd be okay with hearing what they had to say about it. But I think the problem is you have to be really careful about being offended by any and everything. Because when you're offended by any and everything, then that reduces your credibility when something happens that really is offensive, when you really have a legitimate gripe. And unfortunately, what's occurred, and I saw this happen during the Me Too movement, what's occurred is you got to the point where there's so many people that cry wolf that when people have legitimate issues, legitimate claims, nobody listens anymore because they're tired of you always being offended all the time. You have to take that currency and use it carefully. You can't just get mad about everything. So with the Me Too movement, for example, it started, I think, for good reason. There have been men out here that have done terrible things to women. There should be accountability for that. But then they got to the point where literally they were vilifying every man, and they had these crazy slogans like "Believe all women." That's a mental illness to believe women can't tell a lie, right? So what it did was it eventually killed the whole movement, and this happens all the time. So I know that ad was just fine. They probably made a bunch of money, and when you said that they may have manufactured the controversy to get attention, I said, that's the only thing that would make sense at this point because there's nothing there to be mad about.
Thank you, guys. Great job as always. Shemeka, we'll see you for sure next week. Boyce, we'll see you next time. I got to keep it moving. John Momola, he works for Barrett Sports Media. They cover the sports media very thoroughly. He's written a piece about Shannon Sharpe's options following getting dismissed from ESPN. We'll talk with him about that. Joy Taylor as well. Sophie Cunningham starting a podcast with The Volume. We'll talk about that with John Momola. Next.
Oh no, she gonna go head to the back. Oh no.
You just can't make this up. They stopped the game. This is unbelievable. It connects to everything that I talk about on this show in terms of fans are the most disrespected people in all of sports, and we keep taking it. And now it's to the point where like, oh, you laughed at something we don't find funny. We're so fragile. Your laughter, oh, we've been disrespected. Kick this person out of the game. And a player can go to the ref and say, hey, kick this. The ref then goes to security and they kick someone out of the game. This is crazy. You can't do this. The fan has to have some rights, has to have some freedom. And this is my whole problem. You're right, as it relates to the WNBA, it's a communist organization filled with angry feminists who think we're about equality and equity. No, you're about being an elite. And if people don't treat you exactly how you want to be treated, you have them removed.
These words are aboriginal regrets and our decisions. We all want to go to heaven with freedom. It's my obligation, no hate, discrimination, raising up your hands for freedom.
All right, welcome back. We're going to be joined by John Momola. John, am I saying your last name properly?
It's
seems
Momola.
Pretty obvious, but I could. Momola. John works for Barrett Sports Media. Our great friend Jason Barrett. Barrett Media covers the sports media like no other. John this week has written a piece about Shannon Sharpe's future. And does he have one? What are his options after getting dismissed by ESPN, after losing some of his sponsorship support for Nightcap? John, what is Shannon Sharpe's future? What are his options?
Well, I mean, I would think nothing immediate because you're not going to sign anything right after you get fired, I wouldn't believe. But I do think he does have some options when it does come to his next steps. So a couple of them would be, as I wrote in the column, one, you have obviously the podcasting brand that he does very well. In fact, he's in the top 25 every single week on the YouTube charts with Nightcap. Also, Club Shay Shay does very well as well. So the podcasting wing, he can definitely continue to do that. So that's option number one. Number two, in the age of the licensing deal, which Fox Sports and ESPN is currently engaged in right now, where they're giving basically airtime for people to do content for them because they can no longer really facilitate it by themselves. I think it comes down to, can Shannon Sharpe return into an age of Fox Sports, either in the Fox Sports NFL wing, because you do have Jimmy Johnson, who just retired, and Terry Bradshaw ain't getting any younger. So do you welcome a Shannon Sharpe type personality to a pregame show that is watched by millions, that can add some content to that, can add some audience to that, pit him with Strahan, pit him with Howie Long? That's one option. The other option is FS1, because they just did the licensing deal, with Barstool Sports to supplement the programming that they canceled between 8 in the morning and noon. Could there be a way where maybe Fox thinks differently about utilizing Shannon Sharpe, because Skip Bayless is no longer there, and he was the reason why he left Fox Sports 1 in the first place, is because he wanted the buyout from his contract. Also, you don't have Charlie Dixon there, so you don't have any of that, overhanging kind of, lawsuits and rumor and innuendo going on. But you also have a new product in Barstool, which Club Shay Shay is pretty friendly with. He just sat down with Dave Portnoy, a little bit earlier this year, where maybe you could work something into, hey, we will give you Shannon Sharpe in another licensing deal where maybe you can combine both parties, where you draw a little bit more audience to a channel that honestly needs it. I mean, that's why you canceled 3 programs. So I think there's a couple of different options there, especially with the Fox play, the podcast play. But there also could be a play with Netflix. They're trying to get into the podcast space. Shannon Sharpe has a very large platform. So there could be a play there too, especially with Netflix expanding their NFL role.
Yeah, I think Netflix I was going to ask you about. And of the options you've laid out, that's the one that I think makes the most sense. Obviously, I have history with Fox Sports. And so as it relates to the NFL show and Jimmy Johnson leaving and Terry Bradshaw getting old, but Strahan and those, they don't want the burden of Shannon Sharpe on their set, because it's just too much in terms of his brand is taking a hit as it relates to these sexual allegations. These guys want to stay as far away. Howie Long, Michael Strahan, they want to stay as far away from that as possible. And his release from Fox Sports was more complicated than just, hey, he and Skip Bayless couldn't get along. You know, there were allegations and a settlement, I think, with a woman at Fox Sports that had some allegations made at FS1. And so FS1 would make some mistakes, would make some sense, but I think it would be a mistake, and I think it's something they wouldn't want to go down. It's like, oh, you know, you got rid of Charlie Dixon for sexual misconduct, but you're going to bring in one of the kings of sexual misconduct allegations, Shannon Sharpe. That's probably rough optics. Netflix, Amazon Prime, if they wanted to make a move like that or whatever, I could see that. As it relates to the podcast space, and John, I don't know if you have any insight into this, but it seems like sponsors have decreased on Nightcap, and I'm just wondering, the audience seems to be sticking with Shannon better than sponsors are sticking with Shannon as it relates to YouTube and Nightcap, and that's where, you know, the kind of rubber meets the road, where Shannon probably does need to land a deal with a Netflix or somebody else just to make up the money he's lost from Club Shay Shay and Nightcap.
Well, you also have his podcast deal is up with the Volume, I believe, actually this month. So, I mean, he could be looking to sign a brand new podcast deal with another distributor, which in turn could bring some added advertising revenue to your brand. So that could be a play there for Shannon. And I think, honestly, that's probably the first domino that probably falls is, you know, give Shannon a couple of weeks. He's going to continue, you know, creating content for his brands. And then all of a sudden, this news of a new podcast deal will probably drop, which will add revenue to his brand, which will add access to additional sponsors to those properties. As far as the Netflix deal, I think I agree with you as well. I think that makes the most sense because Netflix wants to make a splash. They always want to make a splash. The live sports avenue for Netflix, between their partnership with TKO Holdings with the WWE, as well as you know, all the stuff they were doing with the Jake Paul fights and MVP boxing, they want to get into the sports you know, forum. So if you want to make a splash when it comes to getting into the podcasting realm, I think it makes a lot of sense to start with Shannon Sharpe, because not only can you bring that audience that he brings to the Netflix platform, but also you're trying to add NFL property to your outlet, to your, you know, streaming platform. So if you have your own signed guy, instead of leaning on the networks to bring in, to add their people to house your NFL broadcast, I think that would be a good start for Shannon Sharpe.
John, does Gilbert Arenas, what will he be impacted by what has transpired with him or maybe this enhances his brand? He's always been a goofball, idiot, you know, bringing guns to the locker room. Maybe this works for him like a rapper that gets arrested, and it makes him more authentic as a rapper. Do you see these Gilbert Arenas impact, the arrest, his arrest and these allegations? Will this have some sort of negative impact on Gilbert Arenas as a podcaster?
I think this kind of speaks to his audience, to be honest with you. Like I watched, you know, the segment you did to begin the show, and I wholeheartedly agree. This guy does need to be drug tested. There's an audience for everything, and I think controversy is king when it comes to catering to certain audiences. And I think his audience is probably the one that caters to controversy. What I don't understand about Gilbert Arenas is why does he continue to float these ideas that, oh yeah, I talked to NBC Sports about their NBA coverage, about joining, you know, their, you know, network. Why am I floating the idea that I've been talking to Joy Taylor for a year? There's a difference right now, I think, in a lot of athlete-based podcasts. There's podcasts that are built just to draw attention, and then there's also podcasts built for actual content. I think Gilbert is kind of in that first pool. I think he simply just says a lot of things just to say a lot of things, just because it caters to that audience. So anytime you can live in that, what my kids call IRL in real life, anytime you can do that and make it content, which is what he's doing right now, I think that serves his audience. So do I think it affects his audience? No. It may affect some sponsors that come to his properties between Gil's Arena and No Chill Gil, but I think as far as, losing audience, I think this will only, cater to what that need is.
You referenced him talking about, hey, Joy Taylor, and I saw that as well, that he mentioned her, and I thought, well, maybe that might be her landing spot. Joy Taylor's future is maybe because we played a clip of her earlier where she, hey, I got a reputation and I may end up on a platform that has a reputation. Is she talking about Barstool? Maybe she's talking about Gilbert Arenas? Joy Taylor's future on the other side of her controversy and dismissal from Fox.
I don't think she's a fit for Barstool. And the reason why I say that is because although Portnoy does welcome controversy, he does welcome people that have been shunned in media before to the platform. I mean, look, John Gruden lost his job with the Las Vegas Raiders for doing some pretty nasty stuff via email. It was exposed. And he was blackballed by the NFL, but that benefits Portnoy after a couple of years, right? I don't think Joy's move, if she's teasing these announcements already, I don't think it's a Barstool type of play. I really think it's probably maybe an added podcast partnership for the podcast she already does. I think honestly, she's toxic for network television. Everywhere she's gone has been basically a disaster on the way out. But she does have a growing podcast platform. So I think if she were to make some sort of move, I think it's going to be something where it's a partnership with maybe a big podcast distributor, maybe a Spotify, maybe an iHeartMedia, maybe something like that, as opposed to something in television. I know she's teasing, the surprising, announcement for her next steps, and she's going on. And also look at the podcast she's going on. She's going on the Breakfast Club. She's going on, Joe Budden's podcast to talk about her potential future, right? So I think there's a lane to be utilizing those larger audiences in the podcast space to draw more attention to hers, which will draw more attention to the news that eventually will come out.
I want to play you this clip of Dave Portnoy talking about Sophie Cunningham. And because I'm a little surprised that Dave Portnoy and Barstool didn't reel in Sophie Cunningham. I think it's a great move for Colin Cowherd and the Volume to sign Sophie. But let's listen to what Dave Portnoy said about passing on Sophie.
Speaking of podcasts, one that I passed on, which I thought was going to happen, just went live. Sophie Cunningham, Wes Wilson.
She asked you to do it with her?
I passed on. We spent a lot of time. They did a test podcast, these two, in our New York office. Then we had another host, and it wasn't so much her. Anytime I have to deal with agents, it's hard. I really thought we would be carrying so much of the weight, marketing, all this shit, and her focus wasn't going to be the podcast. It was just one amongst 9,000 things she was doing. And so it felt like we were getting screwed. So at the end, we were ready to sign it. And at the end, I'm like, I'm not interested anymore.
I know I'm old. Who is he?
He's on Summer House.
Oh, okay.
He's a popular Summer House guy.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. And that's, yeah.
So now I like her, but I'm kind of rooting against it.
Wait, so because she was busy with too many other things, you didn't want her podcast?
Yes.
Really?
Well, let me put it this way. She's going to do the podcast with us.
Once a week, say.
She can start another podcast that is talking about something else. She can do digital with other. The ads are being sold from other people. It's like there's just so much going on. And we were going to give her a guarantee. And then the thing that I always get uneasy, the amount of value you get from our marketing machine is kind of priceless. So we're putting all this behind you, and I can't even get a guarantee you're only going to do our podcast. So it just seemed like a lot of work. We had Meek Phil was ready to be the social guy. We're going to say there's a lot that goes on to promote a podcast. And if I don't feel that podcaster is focused, because you have to be, on making the thing huge, it's not worth it. I'd rather spend all that time, energy on somebody's like, this is my dream spot where I want to be.
Yeah, that makes sense. So are a lot of the WNBA players doing them now or no?
There's more coming. I mean,
so I think Sophie has the potential to be great because I think she's a very good athlete, obviously very attractive, particularly very attractive in the WNBA. She'll be able to get on any professional athlete she wants because, you know, professional athletes like being around attractive women and she's an athlete and blah, blah. I think this could be a successful podcast, what she's doing. I like the name of it, Show Me Something. They're playing off, she's from Missouri, this West guy is from Missouri, the Show Me State. But I think I agree with Dave Portnoy's reasoning here. I think he made the right call. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you as well, and I agree with Portnoy. You know, the Barstool model is very different from the volume model with Colin Cowherd. So, and also, I mean, I think the biggest reason why Sophie decided to go with the volume is because the distributor has experience with current and former athletes between Richard Sherman, Draymond Green, Shannon Sharpe. So I think it's a little bit easier of kind of a square peg, square hole thing for Sophie and the podcast to go to the volume versus the Barstool model, which, and look, Barstool doesn't have a podcast right now that covers the WNBA or has a WNBA presence. But when you're a podcaster for Barstool, it is an all-in kind of deal. It's not you're just doing this twice a week and that's it versus what they currently do with, you know, the Yak and Pardon My Take and all the great podcasts that they produce. They're all characters. They're all talent of Barstool Sports. To ask Sophie Cunningham to, you know, maybe take some more time away from whatever she's doing with the Indiana Fever and whatever, you know, else she has going on outside of that, I think it makes a lot of sense for him to say, yeah, if you're not all in, if you're not Team Barstool, then, you know, we just can't have this. I mean, the model is just different for maybe what Sophie was looking for versus what Portnoy wants from his podcasters. But I think the volume is actually a better fit for her because it's on her schedule, has a great infrastructure already in with DraftKings and the volume, and it works with iHeart and it works with Collins. So there's a really good kind of proven kind of entity there where you can work on your own schedule if you're a current or former athlete and still benefit from you know, the reach that the volume has.
And I, you know, as someone who's a WNBA nut job, I like the move for Cowherd just in terms of little tidbits of information he'll get about the Indiana Fever, Caitlin Clark, the WNBA from somebody that matters. It's gonna have value for Cowherd on the Herd, his main show. It's a good move for the volume, great move for the volume, smart move from Portnoy and Barstool to say, it's a great opportunity here, but she's not all in. Anyway, John, thank you so much. We'll be asking you on again. You did an awesome job. John, what city are you in?
I'm in Tampa, Florida, where it's about 97 degrees, blazing hot with humidity out here.
Yeah, we got the same thing going on in Nashville. Are you, just for a little background, are you from Tampa? What's your sports fan background or sports journalism background?
Well, I was originally born in Chicago, kind of bounced around between Chicago, Dallas, and now in Tampa. So, but I've worked in broadcast media for about 20 years. Was a victim of the layoffs, as you know, we all are at one point in our career. But you know, picked up an opportunity here with Barrett Media. Very excited to, you know, plug into a couple different avenues that I haven't, you know, plugged into in the previous life. But yeah, I mean, just enjoying life, and you know, my allegiances are still to Chicago, even though I'm living down here deep in Florida. By the way, I heard you ask for feedback about the shirt. The shirt is fantastic. Yeah. Stick with it.
All right. Well, anyway, final question, just very quick: Cubs or White Sox?
Oh, White Sox. I got pictures of Comiskey Park all over my wall over here, man.
Real baseball fan. All right, thank you, John. Great job. We'll see you next time. Don't go anywhere. Steve Kim. We'll talk about Micah Parsons. We'll talk about John Harbaugh saying Lamar's the greatest passer in NFL history. Terry McLaurin is threatening a trade or a holdout or continuing his holdout with the Washington Commanders. And we'll get Steve's thoughts on what we've discussed, whatever he thinks he wants to pick out from the rest of the show. We'll do that at the Korean Cosell. Next.
ESPN sucks.
Right. But when I think of the face of the league, I feel the same way about the NBA. I think the face of those two leagues is the player that has been in it long enough to win championships and to understand what it means to succeed at the highest level in that league. So I still think of Asia Wilson as the face of the W.
What is the non-negotiable in your mind for this new CBA deal?
The team revenue, the revenue shares, that's really important for us. We deserve it.
All right. Well, again, we hope it gets a little bit more competitive because like a girls trip to Cancun right now, there's no game. It's a 22-point game.
$71 million lands in your bank account right now. What's the first thing you're doing? You ready? 3, 2, 1. Retire.
Y'all don't see me.
We all said quit. Hey, come back.
And that's why ESPN sucks.
모두 다 빨리 박수 쳐 기다리지 말고 서둘러 Reason that I'm back is to feed you raps I see that you are 배불러
All right, welcome back. Korean Cosell. I woke up this morning and I chose violence. I decided to go back at the desperate house Negroes of Disney. Anyway, before we get into Micah Parsons and John Harbaugh, was there anything that happened in the previous hour of the show that you'd like to comment on, correct me on, disagree, applaud me on, any of that?
Well, a couple things. Number one, I want to rescind a couple of aspects of what I said about Shannon Sharpe, because I was reminded, and I saw this on Twitter, there's a long history of Shannon Sharpe with questionable behavior with coworkers. And when I talk about it with other people and you, I don't think I factor that into the conversation. Now, you can make the argument, what does this situation have to do with this past? Well, unfortunately, it's all connected, and it all speaks to a pattern of behavior. And sometimes your past can absolutely impact your present. The other thing is about where people are going to land up. Your previous guest, I think, made an interesting point. Just because you're free and independent and you're a free agent, it doesn't mean it's necessarily a good fit. You still have to go to a platform or a company that you're actually aligned with. And I'm not so sure Barstool and Miss Taylor are exactly what I would call, two peas in a pod. Didn't Michael Rappaport have a relationship for about 5 minutes with Barstool, and that thing just imploded? Who knows? Maybe Joy Taylor will go to CNN Plus. Maybe they'll revive that for her. But I actually believe that given their own success or lack thereof in terms of being an independent voice, Shannon's going to be okay. Shannon Sharpe will be okay. He's put a lot of work into Nightcap. He is a brand. I think in general, no matter what anyone thinks, I think he's very likable. I think he has a dedicated fan base, and you could listen to him. I'm going to tell you this again. The more you listen to Joy Taylor, the less you want to hear, and I think that's a problem.
That is a problem, and great point. Steve, hour ago maybe, 90 minutes ago, Diana Rossini seems to be pointing out that things are deteriorating between the Dallas Cowboys and Micah Parsons, putting out a tweet breaking the Micah Parsons Cowboys relationship has deteriorated to the point where the star pass rusher is considering drastic measures which could include a trade request or even a declaration that he is severing his relationship with the team. Per multiple league sources familiar with the situation, the two sides remain far apart heading into the second week of training camp and are not currently negotiating. Part two of her tweet here. Among the key issues Micah Parsons spoke directly with Jerry Jones over multiple days in the spring. The team believed those conversations were negotiations and that it had a deal, multiple league sources said, but Parsons believes the talks were just conversations and wanted his agent to handle the negotiations. When his agent attempted to start negotiations, the Cowboys declined to engage with him and told the pass rusher that they believe they already had a deal. Now the team is refusing to engage with Parsons' agent at all, creating a tense standoff and increasing friction. Steve, hearing all of that, I actually initially side with Micah Parsons here. He's got an agent for a reason. It's great he and Jerry talked, but those deals go through your agent. It's not, you know, I don't know what Micah Parsons said to Jerry in the conversation, but Jerry's been around long enough to know, hey, this guy's got an agent for a reason. I guess I tend to side here with Micah Parsons. Your thoughts?
Yeah, unless it's 1965 and we go back to the days of Vince Lombardi trading any agent represented player. I mean, literally, you've heard stories where a guy would come in for a new contract, and if he brought in an agent, he'd say, hey, nice knowing you. Here's what I think, Jason. If this was a marriage, we're now at the stage where they may have not been talking and, you know, the guy may be sleeping on the sofa. Someone is now sleeping at the motel, hotel, Holiday Inn, and they probably called a lawyer, maybe Marvin Mitchum, right? But I have a theory. The reason why Jerry is doing this is that he looks at Micah as one of the reasons why they've had no playoff success. Even during those 12-win seasons of the other coach that they have, forgot his name already, he feels you didn't get the job done. In fact, the last time we played, you got ran over by the Packers, right? So, and then here's what I think. Also in the back of his mind, I mean, we talked about this, Jason. Remember a few years ago, there seemed to be a lot of external pressure from the media to hook up Dak Prescott. I mean, really take care of Dak. And me and you, and especially you were saying, well, wait a minute, hold on. Dak is good. Is he truly elite? Well, he got an elite contract, Jason. I mean, he got the most elite contract of any quarterback, and he's thinking, wait a minute, do I want to do this again? Because as good as Micah Parsons is at rushing the passer, there are still some question marks. Is he a three-down soldier? Does he actually play a complete game? And I think that has brought some trepidation in terms of how much do we actually value Micah Parsons?
Well, I think the other issue with Micah Parsons and with basically just the whole pass rusher deal industry, there's an expiration date on pass rushers. And you never know when it's going to come up. They go from guys that consistently get 14, 15, and then the next thing you know, they're guys that get 6 or 7 or 8 sacks a season. And so they all, at some point, fall off a cliff. It's not like a quarterback that may play into his 40s. It's not like a left tackle like a Trent Williams that's playing, 15, 16 season at an elite level. And you just never know when that pass rusher is going to get tired of rushing the passer or doing the work. And so I understand Jerry's position. He has been burned. He's been at this a long time. He's been burned a lot because and it feels personal to him because he's the owner cutting the deal, and that's why he needs a general manager and he needs someone else so it doesn't feel as personal. Or you can get upset. You gave this guy this contract. I'm firing you. Let me get another guy in here. Can't fire himself. So it's gotten very personal. Steve, I want to move on to John Harbaugh saying something about Lamar Jackson that to me is a bridge too far. Play the clip.
I've been saying that.
That's Jeff Teague.
I ain't trying to start no riffraff.
John Harbaugh. That's SOT number 12. There we go. SOT 12. I'm catching you by surprise. We've caught him by total surprise. Yep, it's on the sheet, SOT number 12. John Harbaugh says that Lamar Jackson is as good a passer as there's ever been in the National Football League. Steve, I know you want to play warm and fuzzy with Lamar. I know you like Lamar. I know, yeah, it's John Harbaugh, but I just think that's too much.
Of course it is. Look, I respect the Harbaugh family. This is straight pandering, and I get it. You want to be Tammy Wynette. You want to stand by your man. He's not even the passer that Joe Flacco is. Yeah, I said Joe Flacco, the same guy that actually won a Super Bowl. Lamar is elite. He's great, future Hall of Famer. But this is ridiculous. And are we ready to play that slot? Because I haven't actually heard this, but I get it. Everyone props up their own players. And there's other ways to say it that, hey, for our system, he's as good as it gets. He's one of the best. But no, he is not one of the great passers of all time. There, are you happy, Jason? I said it.
Let's hear from John Harbaugh. I got a slightly different take. Let's hear from Harbaugh.
Well, there's so many things, and Lamar as a person, that's the thing I would say I appreciate the most. The leader, the person, the genuine human being that he is. I love him as a person. But I think from a football standpoint, just go to the most basic, simple thing. Lamar is a passer.
Yeah,
he is a historically good passer, and that's really quite a statement because of the narrative that's been surrounding him ever since the beginning. Lamar Jackson can throw the football. He can throw it every kind of way. He can make every kind of throw, any kind of way you want. He's as good as any passer that there's ever been. And I think now the numbers are proving that. So that's the thing I'm kind of a little bit proud of, but also a little bit like, okay, here we go. What have we learned from that? You know, you can take even big picture. You can say from a society standpoint, football standpoint, what have we learned from that? What kind of questions do we ask ourselves? But Lamar Jackson as a passer is historically great.
So he's saying that 1 year after Lamar completed 66.7% of his passes, threw for 4,100 yards, threw 41 TD passes, and just 4 interceptions. Those numbers are incredible. But the degree of difficulty for a passer has decreased so much. Receivers can run across the middle without a care in the world. You got to ask permission to sack the quarterback. When you do sack him, you got to lay him down softly. He knows he's not going to get touched. They got little microphones in your helmet that tell you what play to call. They run very simplified offense. I'm not trying to take a dump on Lamar. I think it's great that he has improved as a passer. But when you start talking about the guys that John Harbaugh knows played 20, 30, 40 years ago, 50 years ago in the NFL, he knows we've dumbed the game down and made it easier. And I wouldn't compare any of these guys, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, or Lamar Jackson, to any of the all-time elite passers, Marino, Steve Young, Warren Moon,
Elway.
Dan Fouts, Elway. I wouldn't compare any of them to these guys today. They're playing in a game that's much easier. They're playing a video game. And anyway, so and Harbaugh knows this, and he is pandering. You got a final thought on this?
Yeah, I think also, given the fact that he's in a city, Baltimore, that reveres Lamar Jackson, he wants to make sure that he's in good graces. Because if he said anything less, you know the outrage that would happen. Also, Jason, you look at his overall stats. Is that the first year he's thrown for 4,000 yards? Because I know in the past he really hasn't. He's kind of made up for it with the rushing yards. A couple days ago on my YouTube feed came up a John Elway compilation. And Jason, it goes to show you there are lies, damn lies, and statistics. Because John Elway played in an era where if you threw anything above 55%, it was considered elite. Nowadays, you have to be in the mid-60s or you are below average, which is just the nature of the game. The bubble screens, a lot of the short jet sweeps and touch passes, which are basically shovel passes nowadays. But the stuff John Elway was doing on this compilation, all that cross-body throw across the field, extending plays, and then gunning the ball 80 yards on a dime to Vance Johnson or Ricky Nattiel. It's amazing. John Elway in today's game would literally throw, in my view, under today's rules, probably for about 5,500 yards and at least 45 touchdowns a season. And people forget John Elway at one point could probably run about a 4.6. So he could run. He actually had some movement. He had some ability to move. And that's why you cannot just look at the stats when you compare the modern day quarterback to that particular era.
It's receivers used to get separated from the ball, going over the middle. They perfect pass. They'd catch it for half a second, and then someone would blow them up. Ronnie Lott would blow them up, and they'd drop the ball. That's far less likely to happen now. And again, if a receiver got upset with the quarterback for putting him in too much harm's way, receiver would give him an earful, and you just wouldn't even throw that pass. Now, anyway, it drives me crazy when they try to do too much. And all he had to do was the thing he should have said. Lamar put the work in. That's what most impressed me about Lamar, his improvement as a passer. And now he is an elite level passer in this league, in this era. He did that work, and we should give him credit for that. But finally, Steve, Terry McLaurin, Scary Terry.
Scary Terry.
Is this a big deal, little deal, or no deal? Because it's not just Terry. The impact this could have on Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
These quarterbacks have sophomore slumps. Everybody's got a year's worth of film on them. That's what I would be concerned about if I'm the Washington Commanders. It's about the overall and continued development of Jaden Daniels, and you take Scary Terry away from him, and maybe you're asking him to basically do what Pat Mahomes has had to do without Tyreek Hill. What should the Commanders do here?
Commanders should take care of Scary Terry. I looked at his numbers, and even prior to last year when that quarterback situation was not very good, he's consistently produced. He's not a guy that complains. Has a very good reputation. He's been a very good soldier. And Jason, it ain't like the posse's walking through that door. Art Monk, Gary Clark, and Ricky Sanders, they're not there. Now, unless you want to go with an older, heavier Deebo Samuels, and I saw a clip of Deebo, I hope that footage was slowed down. He was running a pretty quick 4.8 there on that deep cross. I'm thinking, oh, boy. Yeah. But Terry McLaurin is a guy, and I think they're citing his age. He's around 29 or 30. But, Jason, there's no real injury history. Again, he has a very good reputation of being a solid pro. And like you just mentioned, with today's rules, I believe receivers are going to have the capability of being better for longer. And just look at the steadiness that guy brings. And the last thing you want, because it seems to me like Washington's going all in this year. They've made some moves. They're thinking, you know what? We're not doing a 5-year rebuild. As George Allen once said, as only he could, the future is now, and it should include Terry McLaurin.
Steve, enjoy your weekend. Great job as always. We'll see you next week. I now get to my favorite part of the show. For some of you, it's not your favorite part of the show, but for those of you with a brain, it is. You love it. As the WNBA turns, they stopped the game for a weave.
Right.
A dildo hits the court and they keep playing.
Yeah,
Make
but
it
hold
make
on.
sense.
You could slip on a weave. It's like a banana peel. You could jump over that other thing. You just do a lot of jumping. That's fine. By the way, I heard next Thursday night, Sparks are having vibrator night. It's going to be big. Big.
All right, I'm in enough trouble. Thank you, Steve. Good job, as always. Steve, we'll let you go. You guys in the comments and the chat via email, help me understand. How do you throw a weave fall into the court, game stops, people get arrested, escorted out of the arena, dildo, nothing. Everyone just keeps playing and, nothing. Makes no sense to me.
As the WNBA turns, Starring Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Asia Wilson, and other angry feminists. Brought to you by George Soros, Adam Silver, Kathy Engelbert, and the Global Elite.
Oh, I couldn't be more thrilled about today's segment on As the WNBA Turns, because I finally hunted down a couple of guys that watch as much WNBA, watch as much Caitlin Clark, talk about as much Caitlin Clark as I do. Love talking about it with Steve, but you guys, Steve doesn't like the WNBA. He doesn't watch much of it. So I've been on the hunt for guys that are at my level as it relates to Caitlin Clark discussion. I've been following their content over YouTube all season. And so John the Liquidator is going to join me. If you haven't found his YouTube page or YouTube channel, you should hunt it down. Ak Nation, AK, I called him AK the other day. He corrected me, and when he put out a video, blasted me. But I got to thank Ak, John. I don't know. John, do you ever watch Ak Nation? At least he put a shirt on for me. I watched the live stream the other day, and he was shirtless, and I had to cover my eyes and just get the screen. And so I was a little bit concerned that he'd come on here shirtless. But gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me. I do enjoy your content. Ben Daniels, another guy. Mick talks hoops. I've been trying to figure out, I've been trying to hunt her down. There's some old white woman. She's got to be in her 60s. She, you know, she doesn't draw a big art, but she talks Caitlin Clark a lot. What's her name?
I know he's Caitlin Clark. I'll send it to you later. Caitlin Clark is in her name. I'll send it to you later.
Oh, please. Anyway, gentlemen, let's talk Caitlin Clark. I may chastise you a little bit, but obviously you can chastise me back. You don't have to hold back. Say whatever you feel. Hold on. First of all, before I play you this clip from Jeff Teague, John, what city are you based in? Where are you doing your show from? And give us a little brief hit. How did you fall in love with the WNBA and Caitlin Clark?
So I'm broadcasting out of St. Louis, Missouri. I fell in love with Caitlin back at Iowa, actually. Man, you just don't see too many chicks hitting logo threes, you know? And so when I came across her, I thought it was like clickbait. I just could not believe there was a girl that was shooting like Steph Curry, crossovers like Kyrie, and this is before I ever, found out she was Caucasian. I'm like, oh, my God, this got to be fake. Kind of find out it was real, and she was cooking people, and I was hooked ever since. I changed my whole channel because of Caitlin Clark.
Ak, I know you do other things, but when did you fall in love with Caitlin Clark? When did you start pumping out the Caitlin Clark? And what city are you? What city you broadcast from?
I'm always repping DC, but right now I live in Pennsylvania. I started my Caitlin Clark fandom, I would say, the Louisville game of the 2023 tournament, the triple-double, the 40-point triple-double. So when she did that, that's when I got on board in the South Carolina game. And then after that, it was just, of course she lost the national championship game, but she dropped 30. And then the whole Angel Reese online, your boy Ryan Clark having a tizzy, and then everything exploding. And, so that's when I kind of got into it. And as far as my channel, creating a channel for it, I still can't believe I have a channel covering WNBA.
Me either, man.
Well, gentlemen, speaking as three men that have lost their minds, let's get to Jeff Teague, the former NBA player. He's from Indianapolis. His brother Marcus is on this as well, who had a cup of coffee in the NBA. But Jeff Teague has got a podcast, I think it's called 520 Podcast, and he had something interesting to say about Caitlin Clark this week. Let's play the clip.
I've been saying that. I ain't trying to start no riffraff, but that zero clean.
So let me hold it down.
Nah, she cold. And when CeCe's back healthy, that's the best backcourt in the W.
See, he always trying. He be trying to push this CeCe narrative.
Oh,
She good, but she not that good.
I said
good.
when she's healthy, they're the best backcourt in the W. That's
that's Bayless right there.
First of all, what I said last year, the best thing we could have did was get Kelsey Mitchell back. Y'all wasn't even tapped in enough. So so we've been locked in. Don't even worry about them.
I said she was the best player on the team.
Oh man,
He was out of pocket, but respect to
How was that out of best?
Best on the team,
Bro, she the best on the team.
She not playing. CeCe not playing. They ain't missing a beat, bro. They actually look a little better.
Cause
yeah,
they ain't shooting them wild ass threes.
She got the
half
ball,
court.
bro. It look real fluent out there.
Nah, she's cold.
I'm starting a Caitlin Clark hate train.
We ain't doing that.
All right. So I don't agree with Jeff Teague. Caitlin Clark is the best player on the Indiana Fever. She has a chance to be the best player in the WNBA. She has a chance to be the best player in WNBA history. What I will agree with, people are reluctant to point out that Caitlin Clark occasionally plays a style that actually hurts the team. Some of these logo threes early in the shot clock and her, creating all of her shots herself, not moving without the basketball, and then resting on the defensive end. These are the things that bother Jeff Teague. He wants to see improvement in, and it makes him say, and there was a time last year when they started playing well in the second half of the season where I thought, hey, Kelsey Mitchell is every bit as important to this team as Caitlin Clark. This is last year at the end of the season. Kelsey Mitchell can get a bucket. And they are playing well right now without Caitlin Clark, and I hope Caitlin Clark is learning some things and will make some adjustments. So, John, I'm going to let you start us off. Your response to my contention that Caitlin Clark needs to tweak a couple things in order for the Fever to reach their full potential.
I feel as if Caitlin Clark, this specific season, is not playing to her ability to where we previously seen her play due to this groin injury. Now, do Caitlin Clark turn over the ball? Yes, she does. Do Caitlin Clark take bad shots at bad moments? Yes, she does. But you have to look at her position on the basketball court as a general for that team. That outweighs any wrongdoings Caitlin Clark has done. She creates shots for her teammates. She creates second chance buckets. And I feel as if this season is going to be set in stone. Once she come back, everything that has transpired, but like within this injury, we're all is going to simply forget about it, because she's going to come in and be the Caitlin Clark we know her to be. And let's not forget to mention that Stephanie White came in and changed the entire offense to this motion offense that, quite frankly, to me, is not for Caitlin. I truly think that offense is set up for Natasha Howard, for DeWanna Bonner, but now since she's gone, it's more so for Howard. But something I've noticed is there was a Pacific game that supposedly Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White had a situation. Ever since that set game, we've seen Caitlin Clark get the ball back, and now she's back on the ball.
That certainly happened where they've allowed her to be the point guard and bring the ball up court. I think Stephanie White's and the Fever had a misguided offseason in terms of bringing in Natasha Howard and DeWanna Bonner. I'm just going to keep it real because that's what I do over here. They needed to bring in another heterosexual woman, just like with Sophie Cunningham, rather than two lesbians that probably have a little bit of attention with, what do they call the three white girls, Les Traches or whatever, Lexi Hall, Caitlin Clark. Yeah. Anyway, you jump in here. Your reaction to my thoughts, Jeff Teague's thoughts. I'm sure you agree with me 100%, but go ahead.
I agree with you 100%, man. I think your narrative is it's just wrong. It's at the core, man. Like, the way you're seeing the Indiana Fever is fundamentally, I just don't understand what game you're watching. I'm not even trying to like blast you or nothing. I respectfully, man, I just don't understand what game you're watching. Those logo threes, that's the only open shot she can get in half court. She can't get an open shot in the half court offense that's not from 30 feet. And she can hit that shot when her groin and her quad are not injured. She's better from 30 feet than most women are at layups in the WNBA. Let's stop acting like she doesn't hit the logo three. It's almost like when you say that, it's like you forgot everything before like 3 weeks ago. It feels like you've forgotten everything before 3 weeks ago. And it seems like you're stuck in this moment of like all the injuries, the slump, and it's like you've forgotten everything before. Then you're a prisoner of this moment. That's what it feels like you're being right now. I feel like you need to remember who she really is and remember the game she has and stop being locked into this cauldron of just like the last 3 weeks to a month of Caitlin Clark.
Here's why I disagree with you. I can pull up tape from me last year saying, hey, she needs to take less logo threes. She you know, that's nice at Iowa. It's not going to play here in the WNBA over the long haul. I don't write off all of her shooting slump to the injuries. I do write or contribute some of it to, hey, Steph White changed the offense, brought in older veteran players with strong personalities, and who started talking about, hey, Caitlin doesn't have to do as much. Caitlin needs to let us, and I think we've seen her confidence undermined by Bonner and Natasha Howard, which I can't even put it all on Bonner and Natasha Howard. Caitlin Clark in grade school, in junior high school, in high school, and in college never took a bad shot. Every shot she took was better than any shot her teammates could take. That is not the case in the WNBA. Kelsey Mitchell can get you a bucket and is an efficient scorer. Aaliyah Boston has turned into a really good post player and can get you a bucket. I think this is all kind of disconcerting. It's the first time that Caitlin Clark has to, well, you know, this 32-footer isn't better than perhaps me moving the ball and putting Kelsey Mitchell to work, who can get to the rim and is a pretty efficient, one of the few really efficient finishers at the rim in the WNBA. She's like a mix between Kenny Anderson, but Kenny was a true point guard, but Kyrie Irving that can finish at the rim. And so there are better shots than some of the things that Caitlin Clark jacks up as a heat check when she could be, hey, let me move without the ball and see if the motion offense doesn't create some easier shots for me. It's a difficult adjustment. I'm sympathetic.
Just push back on that. Caitlin Clark leads the league in assists, and she leads the league in the percentage of her shots that go unassisted. And you're implying that somehow she's selfish because she takes a few of her trademark shots a game. And you're best when Caitlin Clark's not on the floor, and she's an all-star when Caitlin Clark is on the floor.
Yes.
Kelsey Mitchell.
Did you watch the fourth quarter of the Phoenix game?
You're talking about one game against a team that runs up and down. Did you see the final score? Phoenix plays just like the male Phoenix team, just like the Suns. They just run up and down the court and let you get. We'll trade you basket for basket. It's the same thing as Steve Nash and Amari Stoudemire. They just, that's that Phoenix, for some reason, that desert, they play the same way. Arizona, they all play the Wildcats, they play the same way down there. Something about that weather, it makes you just run up and down the court and give up baskets and trade baskets. So, yes, they scored 107 points, but a lot of teams could have scored 107 points in that game. Aaliyah Boston, did you see the layup she smoked at the end of the game? I'm talking about she threw it basically in the stand, a layup. Did you see that
all
one?
miss layups, including Caitlin Clark. They all miss layups.
Caitlin Clark is very
That's
good
a
for
trademark
layups.
of the
Stop.
WNBA.
Stop it, Jason. Caitlin Clark is very good at layups. She is extremely good
she
for
misses
Fact,
them.
she is.
I've
She
seen
is.
it.
She
John, go
definitely
back.
is.
Hold on. Let John jump back in. Go ahead.
Now,
He's been
currently,
waiting
right,
patiently.
Jason, since she says this with Caitlin Clark missing layups, Caitlin is currently averaging 16 points and 8 assists in the league this season. And mind you, she has not played 6 consecutive games. You want to know what happened the last time Caitlin Clark played 5 consecutive games? The Indiana Fever went 3-2. And you want to know why is that? Because Caitlin Clark was there. And something else that has happened. Now, Jeff T, going back to what he stated that the Indiana Fever is a better basketball team without Caitlin Clark. Well, if that is the fact, why come when Caitlin Clark plays, they're sitting at 8-5 this season alone? Without Caitlin Clark, they're just 7-7. Now, I find that to be a tough argument to kind of sit up there and say that this young lady is not a contributor to this basketball team. And mind you, going back to what you said, Jason, you stated that Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell is playing phenomenal right now. I'll give them that. Now, how come they didn't make the playoffs that first year Aaliyah got there, right? So Kelsey and Aaliyah was already together. There was no playoffs there. The last time they was in the playoffs was 2016, prior to Caitlin Clark getting there. Caitlin Clark gets there, guess what happened? Rally, second half of the season, instant playoff team. This year, I still think that they got a strong chance of being a contender for the WNBA title as long as health presumes for this team.
Listen, I'm not someone that thinks the team is better without Caitlin Clark. I'm someone that thinks they can win the WNBA title this year if Caitlin Clark makes some adjustments. But if she just wants to play the way she always played at Iowa, high school, junior high, and grade school, they're going to have problems. Her dominating the ball, 6-7 turnovers a game, taking logo threes, 7-8 seconds into the shot clock, it's not going to work. It's being proven right now that they moving the ball, this offense that they're playing, it's not a slowed down offense like I hear everybody saying. They're creating shots and making it easier. Caitlin Clark can take this team from being a potential team that could win a series in the playoffs. If she plays the proper way, to me, they become co-favorites. The Minnesota Lynx are the clear favorite for the WNBA title, and I get it. But I think they have a chance. Yeah, go ahead.
So you're telling me the Iowa basketball team, right, that Caitlin Clark went to 2 consecutive national championships with, right, is better than the Indiana Fever right now?
No. Well, I didn't say that. Who said that?
But you're saying that her style of play cannot translate to get them there, right?
No, she can't play the way she played at Iowa. I think she can. I love the fact that she played at Iowa, stayed at her home state school, lifted that team up. She's such a transcendent talent that she could do that. I get it. But there is an art to playing with players who are nearly on your level. And you learn that at UConn, you learn that at South Carolina, you learn that at Stanford, and she hasn't learned that. She's never been in a situation where it's like, hey, I can back off a little bit here on the offensive end, give more energy on the defensive end. I can get, the reason she has no unassisted baskets, is because she never puts herself in position to get an assisted basket. She creates her own shots off her dribble. She doesn't. Off her dribble is how she prefers to shoot. She prefers to shoot off her own dribble.
Can you just stop right now? Because, I mean, like, you said so much. All right. Caitlin Clark is not playing with players on her level. Kelsey Mitchell is a scorer on her level. Aaliyah Boston may be a decent player.
Post on her level.
A decent post. She's not playing with players on her level. She's the best player on that team. She's one of the best players in the league. You got to stop this whole she's playing with other players on her level. No, that these girls can't dribble with their head up. These girls can't make a full quarterback.
They can't even catch the pass.
Stop it. You're taking me out of context. Larry Bird and Magic Johnson were better than everybody on their team. But those guys were on their level, and Larry Bird could be like, hey, man, I'm going to let Kevin McHale put some work in here. I'm going to let Robert Parrish put some work in here. I'm going to let Dennis Johnson. I'm going to let Danny Ainge. I'm going to be Larry Bird, be the best player on the court, while understanding I have these other pieces that need to be a part of it as well.
So Caitlin Clark assist just means nothing. How she's getting 14, 15 assists.
She wants to create everything, though. And the 12 assists or the 8, 9 assists that she's averaging. Let's don't forget the 6 or 7 turnovers that she's averaging that she could reduce to 2 or 3 if she came off the ball from time to time or moved the ball.
She's the person that controls the ball majority of the game. So Kobe didn't have a lot of turnovers. LeBron don't have a lot of turnovers. The person that controls the ball.
Hey, hold on, John. And I got Pro Basketball Reference, a Basketball Reference right in front of me. And let's just remember, they play a 48-minute basketball game in the NBA and a 40-minute basketball game in the WNBA. So let me tell you how many turnovers. Kobe's career high in turnovers, late in his career, 5.7 turnovers a game. Other than that, he averaged about 3 turnovers a game throughout his entire career. I'm going to go to Michael and keep him. He's playing 48 minutes, not a 40-minute game. Michael Jordan, highest turnover, 3.6. Most of his career, he's in the mid-2s.
Jason, can I ask you one thing real quick? Jason, can you show us point forwards or point guards? Because you're showing us shooting guards, which is not. It's kind of like comparing a running quarterback's yards to a running back's yards.
Got you. Let me go to Isaiah Thomas. Let me go to.
No.
I've been down this rabbit hole before.
Modern point
Isaiah
guard.
Thomas, most he ever,
Modern point guard.
Isaiah
point
Thomas.
Guard. He's from 80 years ago. Come on, a modern point guard, Jason.
That's not 80 years ago. I'll go to Kyrie Irving.
Steph.
I'll go to Steph next. Most turnovers, Kyrie's in the mid-2s throughout except for the first 2 seasons. He's in the mid-2s. This past season, 2.2 turnovers per game. Let's go to Steph Curry. I've already been down this rabbit hole last year. This will be the final. Steph Curry. Now, here we go. Steph Curry, for his career, 16 years in the league, he averages 3.1 turnovers per game in a 48-minute basketball game, not a 40-minute basketball game.
How much does Caitlin average a game?
Yeah, right now, this season.
How many does Caitlin average a game?
She's close to 6. I'm about to tell you she's close to 6. Yeah, she's very. I'm about to tell you.
Okay.
Nope, I'm wrong. Last year she was 5.6. This year she's 5.1.
Okay, can I just say this? All right. Okay, so you have.
She's playing 4 less minutes, and the reason why she's down is because they were nursing her with injuries and limiting her minutes. She's averaging 4 less minutes per game this year.
Now, how many of those turnovers was due
to
her teammates not catching the pass?
Stop it. That's a Twitter excuse. That's not reality. These girls are picking her pocket. They taking her money. We see it consistently.
Jason, if she was getting pocket picked, you would see it on Twitter. That clip would be all over Twitter. She has.
I watch the games. I don't need Twitter. I watch the games.
once
They
every
take
2
her
games.
money twice a game.
He doesn't
They
get her
take her
punch.
money twice a game.
I still believe a lot of those turnovers are from the players not being able to catch those passes. A lot of them.
And they're dead ball turnovers. She passes to somebody, they drop it out of bounds. It's a dead ball.
Exactly.
It doesn't lead. Her turnovers don't lead the points the other way. They're dead ball turnovers. And Jason, you have to also remember, Steph Curry, like if I joined the NBA today, I couldn't breathe on Steph Curry because I'm nobody. In the WNBA,
Now, that's true. This is true.
Player can drape themselves all over Caitlin Clark. They can gouge her. They can prod her. They can poke her. Anybody. It's not just the lockdown defenders. It's not just your Raja Bells, your Bruce Bowens that get a special whistle. Any defender in the WNBA has license to harass and hurt Caitlin Clark.
That's a whole nother topic. That's a whole nother topic there, Octavia, baby. That's a whole nother topic.
That's you've made a great point. Between the two of you, you finally made a good point between the two of you because they are allowed to play real defense in the WNBA. And that's why I was referencing Isaiah and Jordan. Yeah. I would have referenced back when you could play more physical in the NBA. But I will. And the level of defensive pressure on her is another reason why she needs to about 20% of the time let someone else bring it up court and initiate the offense and let her move without the ball and let's see if they can create anywhere close, just one wide open 22-foot three-point shot for her. Ari McDonald is making a killing off of getting left wide open, and Caitlin Clark's going to get defended a lot harder.
Hacked.
I got it. She's going to get
hacked. They're hacking Caitlin.
But
I guarantee you,
the ball movement.
If those referees make the proper calls, we wouldn't see none of those turnovers like what you're trying to say. Because they'll be scared to.
Let me make a football analogy. Let me make a football analogy. I know both you guys know football as well. And this is why basketball coaches believe in ball movement, because eventually it's like everybody's got a plan until you get punched or until you have to start making real quick decisions and the ball starts moving, and the next thing you know, you've lost your assignment. And it's similar in football. Al Saunders used to run the Kansas City Chiefs offense with Priest Holmes and Trent Green. And if you went and remember Mike Martz's offense with the Rams, there would be all this pre-snap motion. Tight end going here, then a wide receiver. And all they're doing is trying to bait the defense into making a mental mistake. Same concept applies in basketball. You move the ball, you have all that motion. That's when defenders lose you. That's when you end up getting blown assignments and wide open looks. Caitlin Clark brings the ball up court and just sits around or moves around or dribbles around the top of the key. And so when you hear Stephanie White start talking about the ball's moving baseline to baseline and all this other, she's talking about we're making them defend the entire half court. Caitlin Clark, the way she plays, you defend the top of the key really, really hard, and because she ain't going to the baseline. She's not going to cover the entire half court. She doesn't want to move very far from logo land, and because that's where State Farm wants her and the whole marketing campaign, and it's where Ock and John the Liquidator and all the Indiana Fever fans want her. They want her out there by the logo. They want to see the circus act. Jason Whitlock and Stephanie White want to see them win a championship. That's the only way they're going to shut up the Angel Reese crowd and all these other idiots that she can't win a title. She can't win a title. Well, there's a way she's going to have to play that will help her win a title and will help her build a resume where it will be undeniable that she's the best player in the WNBA and quite possibly the best player in women's basketball history.
Glad
it's going
you
to come
said
through titles,
I just
not
cannot
logo
agree
threes.
with that. I just cannot agree with that motion offense stuff. I just can't. Because we've seen what Caitlin can do with the ball in her hand. That is what makes Caitlin Caitlin. Them taking the ball out of her hand is messing up her rhythm. Hence why she's shooting below 30% from logo anyways right now, because they took the ball out of her hands. To me, Stephanie White need to let Caitlin be Caitlin. You want to know why the second half season was so great last year? Because Christy Sides said, you know what, Caitlin, you win. I'm going to just let you do you. And what happened? They went on a winning streak, and they went on to seal their face to make it to the playoffs.
You know what? When you mentioned Al Saunders, it gave me flashbacks. Because I'm a Redskin fan, right? So he came to the Redskins in, I think, 2006, right? With his 700-page playbook. And he was supposed to make our offense so great. And let me tell you something, man. If you don't have Priest Holmes, and you don't have Trent Green,
Willie Rowe, Brian Waters, Will Shields,
it don't work the
three
same.
Hall of Famers basically on the offensive line.
Exactly. The plays don't work the same. His 700-page playbook, he was also with the St. Louis Rams when they were the greatest show on turf.
Yeah.
That's where he basically got his name as a consultant on that team. So you got to remember, Jason, you know this. There's X's and O's and there's Jims and Joes. Caitlin is a Jim and a Joe. Stephanie is preaching X's and O's. She needs to let the Jims and Joes go because that's what she told us in the press conferences when she was hired. That's what she promised to do. She got here, she rug pulled us, and now we're running this offense that, yes, okay. And when Caitlin's out, Kelsey can go 8 for 24, and you can still win a game. Then the next game, Kelsey she gets 35 points against Chicago without 3 of their starters. Then the next game, she has 8, and people online claiming that she threw the game. And she bet on her under. Kelsey Mitchell, this whole
that's
notion
not what happened.
She
that's
did
not
not
what
have.
happened is really. Yeah, let me explain what happened. Let me explain what happened in the last game. Kelsey Mitchell had an off night, recognized it, and did not force offense and let Aaliyah Boston, Sophie Cunningham, Ari McDonald, the Chloe Bibby, hey, I'm off tonight. I can see it. I'm going to do less. And then I got sat. She got sat for most of the fourth quarter. Hats off to Stephanie White. It ain't your night. Come sit down over here next to me. There was a self-awareness that I don't have to do it all. It's not my night. She only took like 10 shots for the entire game. But let's don't kid ourselves. She's the highest scoring guard in the WNBA. And she's played every game. You can't take that away from her.
No, but Jason, Kelsey Mitchell she's a shooter. She's a scoring machine. She doesn't miss 3 shots and say, all right, it's not my night. That's not her mentality.
That's what she did the other night. She did. Go look at her first quarter. Go look at what she did.
Kelsey Mitchell got in foul trouble that game. That's part of the reason why her points was like that.
She got into foul trouble late. Go look at when she's actually on the court. She forced nothing. And again, I love Caitlin Clark, but Caitlin Clark forces shots trying to heat herself up.
Mitchell forces nothing. Your narrative is that Kelsey Mitchell forces nothing and Caitlin Clark forces.
They got 2 different roles. One job, I'm a scorer. And so there's a different standard for forcing a shot as a scorer. Hey, I'm here to get buckets. Then I'm a point guard and I control and initiate the offense. And so you can't, forcing shots looks different to each of them because they play different positions and have different roles on the team. Anytime my scorer, my shooting guard, and I'm pretty sure she took 10 shots the other night, that's self-awareness. That's self-aware. And that's all I'm asking for. And I don't blame Caitlin Clark for not having this self-awareness because if I spent grade school, junior high, high school, and college it didn't matter where I shot from. It was always a better shot than any of the 4 other girls out on the court.
So you're saying Caitlin Clark having lack of self-awareness leads to these turnovers, leads to these bad games? I just cannot agree with that because she has to have self-awareness to see the floor, to facilitate the floor.
I'm saying her lack of self-awareness will cost them from advancing as far as they can from winning a title this year. She can be the best player on the best team in the WNBA and help this team win a championship, or she can continue to play like she did at Iowa, and you will love her, fans will line up, everybody's going to love her to see take the logo threes, but one of these other teams is going to eliminate them from the playoffs, and she'll continue to deal with the knock, and it's a knock. You can't win it, and I think it's stupid, but you can't win a championship with Caitlin Clark. She didn't win one in high school, which is pretty amazing. Now, I got to say this. Someone that good that didn't win a state championship in high school, that's pretty amazing. Because in high school, when you're that good and you're that much better than everybody, all you need is one. I've seen it a million times. I played high school football with Jeff George. We won the state championship twice.
Now, Jason,
when you have,
Can I do this? Okay, so I'm not even gonna argue you about all the other things that you said. I just want to ask you this: since now you're saying she needs to play off the ball, let's just say you get your way, right?
I said 20% of the time. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go.
Hey, 20% of the time. 20% of the time.
Yeah.
During those times, do you think when the players run for her, do you think that she should get a good screen or Olay screen, or do you think that when she comes off the screen, the player should look her off, or do you think she should get solid, eager screen set for her and the ball delivered to her so she can take a good shot?
I think they should run their offense and let the ball find the good shots. And
but she's
that
Caitlin
will
Clark,
happen
though.
for Caitlin Clark.
There's
other players that can get a bucket. There's other players that can get a bucket.
On that team.
So,
huh?
So with Steph Curry,
There's a girl named Kelsey Mitchell that's the leading scorer for all guards in the WNBA. She can't get a bucket.
You named one person else that can get a bucket. Can you run some
Aaliyah Boston can get a bucket.
No, she can't. Aaliyah Boston can't get no bucket.
Aaliyah Boston can get a bucket on her own?
Let's stop this, man.
Aaliyah Boston can get a bucket on her own without Caitlin.
Jason, stop this DI stuff. Aaliyah Boston can get a bucket. Aaliyah Boston is 60% from under the basket layup. Aaliyah Boston.
You was cooking with Kelsey. He was cooking with Kelsey. Aaliyah, now you going off deep end.
Jason, Angel Reese is Angel Reese is better at layups than Aaliyah Boston.
Yes.
Would you what? What did you?
Angel Reese, the last month of the season, is
Can we
better
get
at
the butter box back? Do we have the butter box? This man, what did you just say? Angel Reese is a better offensive player?
Of the WNBA season, Aaliyah Boston is worse at layups.
Bring back the butter box. Oh my!
John,
put the butter. Do we have the butter box? This is insane. John, you know this. He's on the same drugs as Gilbert Arenas. He's on. John, you gotta agree with me here. This is crazy.
The last month, John, the last month you covered the WNBA. You followed Chicago Sky. The last month of this season, Angel Reese has been playing much better than Aaliyah Boston.
Way better.
Thank you.
Angel Reese has been playing better this specific month.
We're done. We're done. Stop the show. We're done. This is insanity. I'm done. These men. I'm done. Play tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow.
Waiting for the countdown, coming off the breakdown, standing in line for freedom. Looking for a breakout, feeling like a standoff, not spinning like freedom. Came like a fighter, striking like a ladder, making all these moves for freedom. I want freedom. No negotiation, my sister, no relation. We all just wanna have freedom. Sitting on a corner, never been alone. I'm breaking my back for freedom. Blessed, we are living, get back. We are receiving, all deceiving. We all wanna be free. We want freedom. I just want, I wanna be. I just want, I wanna be. I just want, I wanna be. I just